to another video. So you probably can hear my voice, it's like really raspy, but I had to get this video done. Excuse me. This is a video that I have been wanting to do at least for the past like 2 months, honestly. If not, well, yeah, for like the past 2 months, if not before that. And this will be all about how I manifested a financial increase and a new career. So let's get started. It'll be kind of long because this has been over the course of not even a year, but like almost a year. Well, I guess about a year since it kind of started. So if you watched my motivational video, I think it was, of like how to stay motivated, how to get motivated, in that video and probably in another video, I mentioned that at the end of 2017, I got fired from my previous job. And then in November of 2017, I got fired from my previous job. December of 2017, I got hired at my old job again. So yeah, so I remember Xavier and I at our old apartment, we had, you know, like the big piece of paper that you can like stick on the wall. And we had wrote down like a whole bunch of our goals. And I wish we would have kept that paper when we moved, but anyways, one of my goals was for financial increase and to be in a career where I use my degree, et cetera, et cetera. And so I kind of just like wrote that on there, not really working towards it, but it was like in the back of my mind. And so after I got fired from my job, Xavier, he's a teacher, like you guys should know by now. If you don't, he's a teacher. He's an elementary school teacher. And he would always say, like, you should teach, you should teach. And I'm like, no, I want to use my degree. So I got a job in the social work field, and like I said, in December. And by March, probably by March, I was like, nope, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, no, like, yes, it's a job. Of course, because I have responsibilities. So I was like, okay, yes, it's a job. Yes, I'm using my degree. But literally within 3 months of being there, I was like, no, this ain't it. Being frustrated. Like, I was on the verge of quitting that job multiple times, but I had my parents, I had Xavier, multiple people, you know, them telling me like, don't do it without a backup plan, or don't do it without being in a new job, a new career, whatever. And so probably around March, like, I was super lost. I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I feel like I'm losing myself. I feel like I'm losing, you know, my drive, because I'm like, I went to school for 4 years, or technically 5 years, for social work. I'm doing it and I don't like it. Okay, God, so what am I supposed to be doing? So Xavier was still, you know, you should be a teacher, like you will be really good at it, and you know, the financial aspect of it would be, you know, worth it, whatever. And of course, at my previous job at the Early Learning Center, you know, even then, like, the parents would tell me, I kept hearing it, like, you were a great teacher, you'll be an awesome teacher. And I was just like, no, I don't want to do it. So anyways, let me speed this up. So in March, actually, hold on, I'm gonna go get my book to show y'all. So I went and got my stuff. But so literally on March 1st, I'm gonna show y'all this spiral. So March 1st, here's a spiral. And I don't know if I can see that date, but literally March 1st, 2018. It's the first day I wrote in this. And it's the first day that I started studying for my teaching certification. And yeah, so literally I wrote this whole book, literally notes, probably full pages of this whole book in this notebook, literally front to cover. Like, this notebook is filled with this is the last little divider of the notebook, or no, there's 2 more, but all of this is literally handwritten notes that, oh, it's dust, literally handwritten notes of me. I don't know if y'all can see that, literally handwritten notes of me starting to study for my teaching certification. And still at that time, I was still like, I'm doing this because it was suggested to me. My heart honestly wasn't in it. I mean, like, I was excited for it. Let me not say that. I was excited for it. So I was like, okay, I can do this. So my plan was to take it by the summer. Like I said, I started in March, and I was like, okay, by the new school year, I'll have a job within the school district, whatever. Still not really, taking it serious, but still not like, on top of it. So I was obviously still at my past job, and I was studying this at that job. Like, I finally was at that point, because after getting fired from my previous job, I was like, there's no way that I will put myself in this situation again where I'm unhappy somewhere and I know that I should leave it, and I stay there and then I'm forced to leave it. God taught me a lesson, and he gave me a test, and I, passed that test and took that lesson and was like, I refuse to do that again. So let me figure out how I can get out of this or whatever. Let me quit flipping through this. So, like I said, I was studying for this, and I would literally like have a goal to try to do multiple pages per day. Mind you, I'm getting my master's as well, and I just told someone this other day. She was like, wait, so you have your master's or something? She asked me, like, you have your master's already? I said, no, I'm currently getting my master's. She's like, and you just took your teaching certification? I was like, yeah. And she's like, okay, wait, when did you do all this? I'm like, yeah, I know. I was working full-time, in school full-time, and studying for a teaching certification. Kind of crazy, I know. But I did it, and I'm really proud of myself. But anyways, I keep getting distracted. So yeah, I was studying for that. And then probably around May is when I started like falling off of my studying. Like I was writing pages per day, whatever. And probably around May, I was still at my past job doing social work, and this new role that was still in the school district was called an intervention specialist. And it was a person, a social worker or a counselor, whoever, but they worked in the school district. So I was like, oh, perfect. Like, I can still do social work, but I can still be in or I can still do counseling, some form of counseling, social work, and still be in the school district and, get all those benefits of being in the school district. But I can do counseling and social work. So I was all excited. So that's all I would talk about. And I would tell Xavier about it, and then so finally some positions opened up and within the school district. And I had April, my past supervisor, which turned into a good friend. She had connections within the school district. Her and I worked at our previous job together. And so she had connections in the school district. And so we both were like, okay, we're going to apply, whatever. I'll talk to my mentor, get you in. We'll be there together. So anyways, one day I was talking to Xavier about it, and he was like, Mimi, where did this even come from? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, this is, I'm all excited about it. And he's just like, no, you should be studying for this test that you said you were going to take by this summer. And now here it is May, and you not even done with your book, not even close. And so he and he is amazing, but he literally broke me down and was like, no, like you over here trying to go left, and God is using me to tell you to go straight. But I'm hard-headed, so I like to kind of do my own thing and then come back. So anyways, so he kind of put me in check and was like, no, this job, you're just now thinking about this job came out of nowhere. And needless to say, he was right. Summer now. And okay, so now I'm looking at the testing websites, and I'm like, okay, I need to, take this test, but I'm not done studying my book. And I think, because there's only certain times they give the test. And so it's like July, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take it, but I have vacations in June and July. Mind you, I was planning to be into the school system by August. So I get on there, and there's one more opening for July something, but the test fees, I can't remember the exact amount, but it's over $100. And when I seen it, I couldn't pay it at that time, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna pay it when I can. So I get back on there, that one was gone. And I was like, okay, God, what am I supposed to be doing? So needless to say, I kept studying, and I got back on there, and I don't know if anybody watching this video believes in number symbolism and like the power of numbers, but the next things I'm about to tell you all have symbols in them due to the numbers that they fell on or just whatever happened. So like I said, in July, I have notes down here too. Like in July, like I said, I got back on track and finished studying, and the next available test, y'all, was on August 8th, 2018. And 8 means new beginnings. And so the fact that it fell on that day of all days, like that was the next available test, was on 8/8/18. And like I said, that means new beginning. So I was like, okay, this is it. Like, this is confirmation. Like, you know, it was obvious. I took like 6 different tests. And I passed everything with like flying colors except for math, and I missed it by 2 points, and I was so mad. So anyways, I missed that by 2 points, and I didn't even get discouraged. It was kind of like, okay, cool. Like, I was that close. All I got to do is get one more question right the next go around. But the thing is, you have to wait 45 days. So mind you, school starts in August. I had to wait another 45 days to take my test, which would fall in September. Okay, school started in August. I'm not taking my test in September. I can't get a job in the school district without passing this test, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So, and this whole time, I'll probably insert screenshots, but I have been writing notes in my phone, just manifesting it and claiming it, like literally saying, I am a teacher in the school district. I am a teacher, and I was really specific because I learned my lesson. Again, God gave me some tests, and I learned my lesson about being specific. So I was specific about I will be a school teacher in the school year 2018-2019. There was no room for error. There was no room for, okay, maybe next year. You know, I was very specific with me setting my goals for myself and putting it out there into the universe, speaking it, claiming it with God, everything. And like I said, I'll insert screenshots of some of my notes because I have a bunch, but every day I would claim it, y'all. And I was literally having like dreams and like visualizing myself in a classroom. So the 45th day fell on my oldest brother's birthday, which was like another sign. He is a big math head. And then the fact that I had to take the math test again, and it fell on his birthday, which was September 22nd, 2018. And it's funny because some of y'all may get this, but I texted our family group text like before I took my test. I was like, this one's for you, little saint. Like, okay, whatever. If you don't get it, you don't get it. But if you do, you do. So yeah, so then I took my test on 22nd. And mind you, you don't find out your results till like a week later, 4 to 7 days. Depends on how fast they score them or whatever. So then I found out I passed my test. So I was so excited. I found out probably closer to the end of the month. And now it's the end of September and we're going into October. And I'm like, okay, God, like, okay, school started in August. Like, and mind you, this is all from me being disobedient. Like, I could have done this in August, but it was all about his timing and me being ready and me being able to follow his lead, because before then I wasn't listening. So I set a goal, again, I will insert some pictures of that I would get a phone call, an email, an interview, something. I would get a phone call in October. So mind you, I found out my test results. So I said I would get a phone call in October for an interview. And every day on my way to work, like I said, I would put reminders in my phone, not reminders, put notes in my phone and just really be praying about it. And not even only praying, but literally saying it like, I am an elementary school teacher. Like, this is my job. This is me. And y'all, every day on the way to work, I would listen to the song called Intentional by Travis Green. And when I tell y'all that, like, these past few months of my life have just been like mind-blowing and like amazing, just seeing the power in your mind and the power in your thoughts and the power of the energy that you put into things, seeing them come to fruition. So I would listen to that song every day. And pretty much the song is saying like, all things are working for your good. Everything you're doing is intentional. And I was still going to work every day, frustrated, irritated, whatever. But I would listen to that song and be like, okay, this is for a purpose. Everything I'm doing is for a purpose. So on October 22nd, I got an email for my first interview, and I was so excited. Like, I was so excited. I was just like, thank you, God. Like, I was on the verge of tears. I was just like, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God. Like, that's all I could say. So she emailed, I got an interview from a principal at an elementary school and was like, hey, I would love to interview you. I'm looking for a qualified teacher for a second grade position. So I was like, yes, like, I'm excited. So I literally went to my interview that next day on October 23rd and went through that interview process, met with the principal, the assistant principal. It went really well. She loved me. Like, oh wait, let me rewind. Okay, so like I said, Xavier is an elementary school teacher, and he has a really good relationship with his principal. And so he was telling his principal, you know, she's interviewing with another principal, elementary school, blah, blah, blah. So he was like, let me prep her. Like, I'm gonna call her. We're gonna do an interview over the phone, like all that. And so I was nervous for that, because I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I do bad in this, like bad in front of this fake principal, not even fake principal, it's the real principal. But what if I do bad on this like mock interview, and he's prepping me, and he's a principal, so he knows, what they're looking for. So I was nervous. And when I tell y'all, that was like, me and Xavier was calling it this, like, that was like taking a test and getting the answers. Like, he literally, he would ask me a question, I would answer, he'd be like, nope, call me back in 10 minutes and I'm gonna ask you that again. So I'm like, okay. So I literally called him. We probably were back and forth on the phone before this interview like 3 times. And he would ask me a question, and he'd be like, nope, okay, tweak this, say this. You said the right thing, but say this first. And then, like, literally gave me like, here is your study guide, go get this job. So anyways, back to the 22nd. So I went on my interview, and it went really well. And so the principal was like, we have some other interviews, but we're looking, for our finalists, we're going to invite them back to do a model lesson plan, which means I would have to go into the classroom in front of the students and do a lesson plan, like teach. And she's like, we're not choosing everybody, it'd only be specific people, that we see moving on to either our final round or that we will offer this position to. And even before I left the interview, she told me that she wanted me to come back for that. So I was like, okay, cool. So that was that on the model lesson plan. I think that was on a Tuesday, I think. So I was nervous, because I'm like, okay, what am I teaching? Like, how do I teach? Like, what? Like, is there really gonna be kids in there? So I'm like flipping out. So she's giving me, okay, this is the subject, this is, where they're at, prepare a lesson, literally prepare a lesson plan. So I literally prepared a lesson plan from the worksheets to the centers to everything with Xavier's help. And I wish he was here. He's actually at work, but he wants to do his side of this, because I put him through some not nice moments. But yeah, so I literally had to plan a lesson plan. So that Monday, which was the 29th, I had to do the model lesson plan, and it was literally in the classroom with students, with the substitute, I think she was, and the principal in the room. And I felt like it went really well, and I was like, okay. So the teaching position was for second grade math and science. And mind you, specific about the grade I wanted to teach when I was, manifesting this. But I always had in the back of my mind, and always kind of knew that I wanted to work with younger, like, So second grade, I was like, oh, okay. And then math and science, I'm like, I like those. They're not my favorite, but I mean, I was like, it's about to be a teaching job, whatever. So I did my model lesson plan on the 29th and interviewed with the panel, with the other teachers on that team, and it went really well. And literally, I mean, I was comfortable, and this feeling, the way that I felt throughout this whole process is like the most comfortable I've been in my body, like within myself, like knowing who I am. I can sit in a room full of people and not be, hunched up. Like I was like, ask me questions, I got this. I have never felt I have never felt more confident in myself than I had in these past few months. So during that interview, and I was like really relaxed, even though there was 6 different people all asking me questions. And literally after that, there was another teacher in there. She was African American, and there weren't many, if any. She came, like I was leaving after that interview process was over, and she literally chased me down the hallway and was like, I just want to tell you that you would be a great teacher, but I took some notes of some things I wanted to tell you. Because she was kind of quiet in there, and like her colleagues were like, she's not usually this quiet, like she usually asks a lot of questions, blah, blah. So that made me nervous, because I'm like, oh, well, she don't like me, you know, I'm not doing good because she's not asking me questions. So she came, like I said, she chased me down the hallway and was like, okay, you know, you did a great job. You are going to be a great teacher. She was like, but make sure when you get asked this question, you know, you did good at answering, but have like a specific example. Same with this, whatever. So again, literally gave me the answers, like, here you go. So I felt really good about that, because she was like, you're going to be amazing. So I was like, yes, like this is mine. So I kept speaking into existence. After that, I kept believing. And then on the 30th, she called me and was like, we're going to go with the other interviewee or whatever. And she was like, but I actually had another principal call me and say, whoever you don't hire, send to me, you know, and I'll contact them. So she told me that, and I was like, okay, this is God working. Like, God is working. Like, okay, I didn't get that, but the fact that she is already going to recommend me to somebody else, and she only met me, she interviewed me on the 22nd, met with her again, no, interviewed with her on the 23rd, met with her again on the 29th. Like, we only had 2 interactions, and the fact that she would put her name behind my name to another principal, I was like, God, you working. Like, this is crazy. So literally on the 30th, I got that call that morning from the principal saying, we didn't get it, or you didn't get it. And then that night, this was a Tuesday, I would not forget it, it was a Tuesday, the other principal called me that night and was like, hi, I just got your information from, you know, this principal over here. I would love to interview you. Could you come in tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, like, cool. Yep, I'm coming. So literally on the 31st, I had my interview at the second school. 2 weeks, like these interviews. And so I went to that second interview at the second school on, no, I think it was the first? Nope, it was on October 31st. So on October 31st, I went to that interview, and when I was going there, it was in a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood. Didn't bother me none. And I'm gonna backtrack a little bit and say the other school was predominantly white. It was, you know, a few, whatever. But that, I only said that because it's important. So I get there and I'm like, okay, whatever. And I walk in and there is nothing but people. Well, first of all, let me backtrack. So I looked on the website. I had been looking at all these schools, but, you know, after they called me, I would look on the website to see, like, who's the principal, who works there, just kind of seeing, like, because you just know. So when I saw this principal was Hispanic and that majority of the faculty and staff was Hispanic, I was like, okay, I'm gonna trust you, but I see the population they're working with, you know, whatever. So I went there, and literally the principal was like, yeah, it's about, I can't remember the exact percentage, but she was like, it's about 95% Hispanic, da 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 da, and, you know, went on. And like that immediately kind of shut me down, because I'm like, I can't speak Spanish. Like, I wouldn't be effective here. Like, I would kind of be pointless here. So like, I just kind of knew that I wasn't going to get that one, because that's not the population that they were hiring. So on the 1st, I got a call from the secretary at that second school. It was like, you know, we're going to a different interviewee, whatever. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And I literally tried to be sad, y'all. Like, I went the rest of the day, text everybody that knew, because nobody really knew about this whole process besides Xavier and like my immediate family. And yeah, nobody really knew, because I like to do stuff in silence and just kind of work my way through things and then announce them. So nobody really knew that I was even going through these processes, nor on these interviews. So yeah, on the first, I didn't get it. And like I said, I even tried to be sad. Like I came home that day and I think Xavier had to go to work that night. And I literally tried to cry and I couldn't cry. And God was like, girl, no, like it ain't no time to be sad because I'm still working. Like like you thought I was done. Like, no, I still got some stuff for you. So literally on November 4th, I had a dream about being in an interview and just seeing African-American faces in front of me. And I was just like, oh, that, not that it was weird, but I was like, oh, okay, cool. Still believing, still putting notes on my phone, still manifesting it, still claiming it. Y'all, on November 5th, I got a call from a principal to interview. So I was like, okay, like, yes, I'll be there. Y'all, like I said, I would Google every school after I got off the phone with them. I Googled this school and the principal's face popped up. And when I saw that she was an African-American woman, I about fell out. I come home, I said, Mama, I'm ready to shout. Because the fact that I dreamt it, I knew like, okay, this is it. Like the fact that I dreamt it and then I look at her picture and boom, there she go. And anyway, so I was just so excited. And not that I am discriminatory, not that I care who I work with. I can work with anybody, but people look out for people that look like them. And that's just being honest. Especially when it comes to workplaces and, things like that. People look out for people that look like them, like I just said. And it showed across the board. Like that's not even a biased statement. That's literally what I saw from the first school to the second school and then this school. And anyway, so on the 5th, like I said, I got that call. And literally on the 6th, I went to that interview and interviewed with the principal and the assistant principal. And again, like I was nervous and it was, okay, the first interview lasted, I would probably say 45 minutes, maybe even an hour. Y'all, and then the second one was like super short, it was like 20 minutes, which I was like, that's not a really good sign. And then this last one, it literally lasted like an hour and a half, if not an hour and 15 minutes. And when I tell y'all I was sick to my stomach, I literally called Xavier after. And mind you, I had been to 2 other ones, so he kind of knew, how I sounded after and all that stuff. So he literally FaceTimed me after and he was like, how'd it go? And I was like, it went good. But I felt like so anxious about it that I was like hesitant. I was like, okay, did I do good? Because the principal would like ask me questions and when I would answer them, she would like either ask me the question again or want me to elaborate. I don't know, whatever. And so it made me second guess myself. So then I was just like, okay, maybe I didn't do good. Like maybe I didn't, use my answers and my study guides that I had all throughout, these past few interviews, mock interviews, people, telling me stuff like, maybe I didn't do good. And so I literally was sick to my stomach and he was just like, and I tried to play it off. Xavier was like, no, you're not the same like you were after the other ones. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I just don't feel like I did good. And he was like, no, if she, wanted you to elaborate or if she asked you the question again, it's because there were real life situations. And she just wanted to see if your answer would change or whatever. So he kept like reassuring me and I was like, okay. So yeah, that was that. And like I said, I was sick like the rest of the day. I was just like super anxious about it. Literally that next morning, I sent a thank you email, just, thanking her for her time, the opportunity, et cetera, et cetera. And literally by like 4 p.m. on the 7th, she emailed me back and was like, we love to offer you the position. Would you accept it? Blah, blah, blah. So on November 7th, I got the job. And when I tell y'all, I literally like did not know what to do with myself. I just kept saying like, oh my gosh, like I did it, like I did it. And I literally would blurt out at random times like, I did it. Like it was just so crazy to think back to literally March and even before that, but literally to March, to know that I started this journey in March, gave up on it a bunch of times, got frustrated, was up late, didn't want to study because I had school, because I had work, like all this stuff. And literally within the span of 8 months, I literally gained a new career. Like that is just, I'm still like, if you can't tell. Kindergarten is where I was supposed to be. And before that interview, she had when she emailed me, you know, confirming the interview or whatever, she was like, you can feel free to bring examples of what we would see in your classroom. And so mind you, I had been through the mock interview. I had been through a real interview and a model lesson plan and another interview. So when she said that, I was like, I literally had all the pieces to this puzzle. I had all the pieces to complete my puzzle. Like everything just worked out so perfectly and everything happened for a reason. And like the fact that I would listen to that song every day, everything's working for your good. This is all intentional. I truly believe that. Like I had no choice but to. Like I said, I tried to be sad, couldn't be sad because it was for a purpose. I had to talk to Xavier's principal to, you know, for him to help guide me. I had to go to that first interview. I had to go to that model lesson plan. I had to go to the second interview to get this third interview and to secure this job. Like I had to do it. And when she told me to do that, y'all, I went like all out. I did like little baggies of manipulatives, like stuff she would see in my centers. I made a PowerPoint, and on there I literally wrote on there my name. So I put Miss Mimi Capri, and I put Miss Mimi Capri's kindergarten classroom. And when I saw that, I was like, this is it. Like that's it. This is it. And so anyways, I did that. And so I just kept, like I said, I just kept doing the steps and really trusting and believing in myself and believing in the plan that God had for me, that this happened. And on November 26th, I think it was, because it was the Monday after Thanksgiving break, I started my job. Yeah, so now I am a kindergarten teacher and I'm so excited. So I just completed week 2 of teaching, and that will be a whole nother video, because let me tell you, starting a teaching job in the middle of a school year, yeah. But I will not complain. I have not complained. I refuse to complain because this is where I'm supposed to be. And I'm just so excited. So that is it. Like I said, I'll probably insert some screenshots of some of my notes and just the things that I did to manifest this increase. And the fact that I manifested a financial increase and a career, and like, y'all, it's just mind-blowing. Like, God is good, and this is just all to say, like, you can do whatever you put your mind to. Like, literally trust and believe and literally claim it. Like, if it's something that you want, it can be as simple as a new pair of shoes. If you want those shoes, say, those shoes are mine, these shoes, you know what I mean? Like, you literally claim what you want and it can happen as long as you put in the work. And this was mind-blowing for me, and this literally changed my life. And like I said, I've never been more comfortable in myself and like just being obedient. And yeah, so I really just want to thank God, honestly. Like I say this all the time, I just be like, thank you, Jesus. Like I did it. Xavier and my family, because they had to hear me call them crying and having meltdowns and literally having anxiety attacks. Like, I can't do this. And, you know, just being there for me and being encouraging and lifting me up and being like, you got this. And, you know, just anybody that had any part in this. And for the, I may do like a part 2 with some specific tips, but maybe not, because I feel like I said everything in this video. But yeah, so I will see y'all in my next video.